Why are many American men no longer interested in American women? If you were to interview 100 men about their perceptions of American women, approximately 90% would give negative responses. Listen to this man.
American women didn't want me, so I came to the jungles of Latin America, met the real Pocahontas, and got a woman that looks way better than any of these salty girls that are going to be commenting on this Instagram post. And I'm teaching all my brothers, if you're not being appreciated in your home country, the problem probably isn't you. You need to get your passport. And even though these American women didn't want me, believe me, the feeling was mutual. Because when I could have this right here, why on earth would I want an American woman? Get your passport for us.
Possible reasons for American men being less interested in American women could include 1. Changing social dynamics. 2. Increased exposure to diverse cultures. 3. Shifting expectations in relationships. 4. Influence of media and societal norms. 5. Personal preferences and individual experiences. What else do you think could be the problem?
Now, I will say, to one point, hey, the problem probably isn't you. Hey, you need to work on yourself. Make sure before you go over there, make sure you got your stuff in place. Make sure you got your business in place. Don't nobody need to be taking advantage of you.
You want to know why a lot of dudes are going overseas to get wives? Let it tell you.
A lot of people judge men for dating internationally, but honestly, men just want femininity, support, and softness. And those things are still normal in other cultures. Not everything is about politics or drama. Some men just want peace.
You will be surprised, especially if you're not informed, of how other cultures do relationships. Especially when, like, a lot of women, you're young in other cultures, they have their mom in their life, and their mom does a lot of wife-style duties, and the daughter is taught how to be a wife from a wife. Or out here, you wouldn't learn how to conduct a train from a pilot. And that's how it is. Like, a lot of chicks here are lost. They're raised by single moms, unfortunately, and they don't know how to be wives or how to be a good woman because they were taught you don't need no man. You don't got to do it. So men go to places where, younger women or women in general were just raised to be wives. You can go to places like DR, South America. And again, I know there's a lot of people with, a lot of women with different agendas that just want green cards and stuff, but we're not talking about those. But there is a large group and a large percentage of women that, become amazing wives, and they're taught how to treat a man, what a man needs. And it's all simple stuff. It literally is. Like, she even said it. And those women are soft. They don't like to argue. They're feminine. You know what I'm saying? There could be a language barrier, but a lot of people, they go that route and they end up happy, man. The women over there in other countries feel like they don't need that much. They just want to be happy, want to feel secure, and that's it. So compared to over here, where it's feisty attitudes, disagreements, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. The dating scene now hasn't been good, and it's probably the worst it's ever been. Birth rates at an all-time low. You see the pattern here, right? So if you a dude that got his own and can sustain somebody else, going overseas for a wife, if that's what you want, it's not a bad idea.
And really, honestly, there's another element to this argument or this discussion where a lot of these women, they don't really know how to be wives, but they'll figure it out for the right man. So what a lot of modern women are really saying is, I might not know how to be a wife, but if he's nice to me and he does, the things that I want, if he makes me feel safe, then I don't mind learning. I can take care of him, but over time, I don't mind learning to be a wife. I don't mind learning to do the things that he really likes, to care for him, to care for the kids, to slide into that feminine role. But for right now, I think I'm going to stay where I'm at because I don't feel that he can lead properly. I don't feel like he can do the things that I want him to do properly, and I don't feel safe. So I think I'm going to stay where I am. The problem is men have to learn, regardless, how to be husbands. You got to see that I'm able to protect and provide for you from the first date. But you're telling me I don't get to see if you can be a wife until I marry you. Not even during the engagement. I've got to wait until we get married for you to unlock that. Okay, now it's time for me to turn on the faucet and start being a wife. Now that I've got your full commitment, when I've been trialing you this whole time and I've been seeing if you can protect and provide for about a couple years now, and you really just honestly just going on a wing and a prayer. I don't know if men want to sign up for that anymore.
Let me get this straight. You have been telling men for years that you don't want them, that you don't need them, that they don't meet your standards, that they don't treat you right, that you can pay for your own hair, you can pay for your own nails, you can afford your own home, you can afford your own car. Men are good for nothing. You're strong, you're independent. But then you get mad when these men go to another country to actually find a woman that has the qualities that they are looking for in a wife. Make it make sense. I also want to talk about why this mindset that so many Western women have is actually extremely problematic. Because not only are you putting down the men who are going overseas with pure intentions, you're also putting down the women from these other countries solely off of the fact that they were not brought up in a Western culture. Because you're calling them uneducated, you're calling them poor, you're calling them weak, you're calling them vulnerable. You're creating a superiority complex where you are at the top and women from all these other countries are at the bottom. Now let me tell you something. If you were really superior, the men would not be leaving, and you would not be single.
So what do you suggest the women in the West do if everyone's advice is for men in the West to look elsewhere for a wife? What happens to all the women in the West then?
Well, that one study we referenced was said by 2030 or something, 50% of women will be without a man. So that's the direction we're heading, because the men that are looking for those traditional values are starting to go overseas. And then the other half of the men are just checking out completely. They don't want to deal with women at all. So this is going to be a big issue that women are going to deal with in the future as their options dwindle.
Men are traveling out of the U.S. just to find a wife. I was watching a podcast the other day, and it went on to explain why men are traveling out of the States to find a wife. To sum it all up, they say that women from other countries are well-educated, classy, elegant, very feminine, and they understand how to give and take in relationships, instead of being demanding, entitled, and ungrateful for things that men do for them. And I'm not saying all, but some women in America have grown so entitled and demanding. Basically, they think that they can treat a man however they want and they can get away with it. Treat a man poorly, and then they criticize their looks when they're not in the best shape themselves. Agree or disagree all you want, but men do like feminine women. They like when women behave feminine, and they like when women take care of themselves. Want a good man, but they're tired of our BS. So much, in fact, that they're traveling overseas just to find a wife that respects them.
Guy here in the comments says, because women outside the U.S. only want a family and unconditional love. Another guy says, married for 18 years, started dating a Russian woman, never going back to American women again. Another person says, what's funny about all this is that women that they say don't want us are mad that we're leaving. Make it make sense. Well, the sense in that is, I thought you were going to be here. I thought you were going to be doing what I want you to do. That's the sense. That's what I thought you were going to be doing. But you pulled yourself up and you said, well, let me go find somebody that likes me. And you found somebody, and now I'm upset.
How old are you?
You don't ever ask a lady how old she is.
Why not?
What?
Why not?
I'm 29.
Are you single?
No.
You have a man? How long have you had a man?
A little while.
So be honest with me.
This is my man.
If your man gave you a guilt-free pass to have fun with any guy in the world, would you take it?
With Brad Pitt.
Why even put your...
George Clooney. George Clooney, he ages better. George Clooney, you can get it any time.
What's the most unattractive trait a man can show a woman?
Little dick energy.
What does that look like, though?
You know what it looks like.
She got him in the phone. She got him in the phone. She got a man on the phone, Doc. She got a man on the phone. This is how brain dead these modern women are. God, dog. Man, okay.
Men are now realizing that they don't have to stay in an environment where they feel invisible. They're expanding their dating pool globally. And the results are completely different. More connection, more respect, more appreciation. It's literally a cheat code.
And honestly, after seeing her talk about how George Clooney is the greatest, and if I ever met George Clooney, I can get it with her man on the phone, and you wonder why men are going overseas and, looking elsewhere. Just looking elsewhere for somebody who doesn't talk like that and doesn't act like that.
I tell guys, literally, you need to get with girls that are more average, like for a long-term relationship. Like the hot girls, I'll tell you, being in Miami, having a few of them myself, they're fucking useless. And the reason why the hot girls are useless because they've never had to be useful, and
they've gotten by on looks.
They've gone by on their looks for a very long time. So the most beautiful women tend to be liabilities versus being assets. So I tell guys, when it comes to like your serious girlfriend and your wife, you're probably going to end up, even if you're a top tier guy, marrying or getting with a girl long term that's like a 5, 6, maybe 7 at the highest level. Because like, a 10 is like damn near doesn't exist. A 9 is like, Victoria's Secret supermodel, super hot. 8, same thing in that realm. And these women tend to be what I call like, monetized type chicks, right? Where they've had super rich boyfriends or maybe had a sugar daddy in the past, or they've never had to really work hard for anything in their life. So these women are horrible to have as like your long-term partner. The women that are more grounded and down to earth and maybe might be more God-fearing or understand, their role as a woman, they're going to tend to be like more average looking. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
you have the audacity to be at this motherfucking show, whatever fucking show we at. And just because this motherfucker is so-called a celebrity, you was getting ready to do the thing that you do in private, in front of the whole fucking world to see you.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you? Nigga, you right there.
And you got your friends hyping you the fuck up. But I constantly keep hearing you goddamn women in this motherfucker with these big dumbass motherfucking eyelashes talking about you want to be married. Why would somebody marry you? Tell me, why would somebody waste their time on somebody like you when you sit up here doing this dumb ass shit in the world, and then you want to come back home and take them big dumb ass bubble lips and kiss this motherfucking man? I want me a husband. Keep hoping and wishing, because when we see shit like this is the see, and then y'all get mad because the brothers go overseas and looking for love over there, and then they looking at the white girl, and then they looking at the Puerto Rican, and they looking at the motherfucking, hell, even the African shit, looking at the Jamaicans, the Haitians and shit, and leaving your ass alone.
All women in your life are going to be toxic, borderline, narcissistic, crazy making chaos. If you have not initiated yourself as a man, a woman always be absolutely batshit bananas crazy. She will come into your life. You will find her the most attractive, wonderful, consumed with her beauty, deity of a woman. You will be under a spell, and it is through that spell that all of your boundaries, your standards, if you have any, everything in your life, your money, your state of peace, all of that will go away. And it will be her eating away at you every single day, concession after concession after concession, that you have added meaning to, and that you think that somehow this valiant attempt at trying to tame this woman and the suffering that you are receiving is the pathway. But what's actually happening is that the woman coming into your life is the reflection of what you must learn, of the unintegrated chaos within your own life, the shadow, the unconscious parts of you that you have rejected and that you see projected back onto you through the woman that you found attractive. No woman that will be an asset in your life will be attractive to you, and she won't be attracted to you until you have initiated your masculinity. And paradoxically, the initiation comes when the woman, the toxic woman, the crazy borderline narcissist exits your life, blindsides you, rips your heart out, rips your world apart, takes it with her and never to be seen again. That is the moment that you can take the opportunity to turn that pain, forge it through alchemy into masculinity, turning that desperation and need for women, for validation, for mirroring, for permission, all of that shit into power. And that's all I gotta say, lads. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Get her out of there. She ain't got no business being around you, being close to you. Get her out of there. Period. End of story. End of story. I don't got no time to be messing around with you. You a loser. You don't deserve my time. Bye.
The countries that have less money and less education, it's because they want a woman who is dependent on them for their livelihood.
So that sounds like a pretty good point, doesn't it? Oh, men just want women they can manipulate. So I wouldn't ask ChatGPT. If you don't know what ChatGPT is, you got to Google it. And these are the results. So I asked the artificial intelligence, what is the percentage of women in Thailand who have a college degree up to the year 2020? I'm using Thailand because that's one of the places that men are traveling to overseas for wives. According to the United Nations Development Program, the estimated percentage of women in Thailand with a bachelor's degree or higher was 29.7% in 2020. What is the percentage of women in the United States who have a college degree up to the year 2020? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the percentage of women aged 25 and older in the U.S. with a bachelor's degree or higher was 36.3%. A 7% difference. And it still means in both countries there is an overwhelming amount of women that are not college educated. So why do they continue to use the argument that men are looking for women that are easier to manipulate with less money who are uneducated? How does that make any sense? So then I went ahead and Googled Spain. I'm not going to put it up here because it was annoying to do. So in Spain, it's 38.6%. In Colombia, it is 27.9%. So these aren't huge percentage gaps. Now, if you just listen to what the men that are going over to these countries are saying, they're saying they want women that are feminine, submissive, kind, intelligent, and not hyper-aggressive with huge egos similar to the women in the States. Now, if you don't believe that that's true, here's another clip.
I'm a single mother of 6 with another one on the way. Don't hit me up to waste mine or my kids' time. I'm a mom. I'm a good mom, and my kids will always come first. You will pay for the first date, and don't expect me to drink with you either. I have standards.
I'm going to stop it right there, but I have 6 kids with one on the way. And you are boldly trying to dictate the interaction before it even begins, and that's a Tinder profile. But what do y'all think? Why do you think men are going overseas? Why do you think the women in the U.S. are upset about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to catch y'all later.
Think about this passport bro fantasy for a second. A lot of men think that if they just go overseas, they will magically find this soft, traditional woman who doesn't argue and treats him like a king. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe that was realistic. But today, this world doesn't exist anymore. Women have changed everywhere. Social media, dating apps, abundance is global now, even in less privileged countries. Attractive women, they know they're attractive and they monetize it. They capitalize on it. They do very well for themselves. They don't need a man for a long-term relationship. Less attractive women often go the other route. They pursue education, careers, degrees. They spend their 20s and 30s chasing ambition, and unfortunately many miss their biological window to have family. But then they hit their 40s, and after years of saying that all men are useless and how they want to be independent, they're not exactly at the top of the dating market by that point. So men go overseas thinking they're escaping feminism, but feminism is already there. And as someone from Eastern Europe, look, I've seen this firsthand. Many women see Western men as opportunity, not just for themselves, but their entire family. They will treat you like a king in the beginning, and then green card, security, half of your pension, and she's gone. I've seen marriages destroyed. Military guys go on deployment, Estonia, Colombia, wife back home, kids. And guess what? Next thing you know, there is a fiance visa and a broken family. So the message isn't don't date abroad. The message is don't be naive. Stop chasing the highest highs and the lowest lows from someone who can easily love bomb you. Look for peace, stability, shared values. I don't know, go to church, join your community. There are good women in your backyard.
And that's kind of what I was saying a minute ago, when the guy was saying, hey man, when you're thinking that you're not having success over here in the dating market in the Western world, then, the problem's probably not you. Go over here and find your wife. Yeah, I hear you, but like she said, the Western culture has penetrated a lot of different spaces. And you hear about it in China. You hear about it literally almost quite literally everywhere. And it's hard to listen and because, social media is everywhere. It's hard to, see in your desirable truth. He was talking about, he went to Spain, I think. And he was talking to some women and, hey, what do you think about American men? Oh, well, I think they're this, and this. Now, where'd you get that from? Have you ever dated an American man, or have you ever been with an American man, been around one? No, I haven't been around one, but I've seen it on TikTok, right? I've seen it on TikTok. So this type of message is spreading in a lot of different places, and, could potentially be harder to find a good woman, even if you go to a different country, right? They fool around, have to go to the most remote parts of the world where these women don't have any social media.
Passport boys. I don't know if you heard about
this.
this.
The passport bros.
Yeah,
I do know
Tell
about
us
them.
about that, bro.
A lot of these dudes think that they're going to simply go to other countries, date women, and think that those women in those places are more submissive and that those women will be able to conform and acquiesce to whatever it is that those men want, right? But here's the thing, though. A lot of these men that are pushing the passport bro stuff, these aren't our producers are high value men, top guys. These are guys who would be considered lames in America.
Okay.
Losers.
Like
right?
Trump said, they're not sending their best.
They're not sending their best. Absolutely. Precisely. So these are the dudes who are looking to go to these other countries and trick off for a woman. They like to push this idea that wherever they go, those women are different compared to our women here in America, right? But here's the thing, though. Women, no matter where you go, they're all the same. What it is that women respect and will submit to men that they know are bringing in the numbers, the men who are actually producing.
So even if we want to make that argument that, well, they submit to and respect the men that are the men that are bringing in the numbers, even if you have that, that would still be an argument to say, well, this is what I can afford. So I don't go shopping at Ralph Lauren. I don't go shopping at Louis Vuitton because I can afford the stuff from Walmart. Oh, well, you ain't as good because you shop at Walmart. I shop at Louis Vuitton. That's fine because a lot of wealthy people don't really shop at Louis Vuitton either. A lot of wealthy people don't really shop at a lot of these wealthy high-end stores because they don't want to blow their money. I might get something here and there, but my whole wardrobe don't have to be Louis V. My whole wardrobe don't have to be these high-priced, expensive items. I don't want that. You have one of the top YouTubers, Mr. Beast, said, man, I made a whole bunch of money, went and got me a sports car, man, drove it around for a little while, and gave that thing back. I don't want that. Why not? It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It didn't give me the feeling that I thought it was going to give me. And that's what a lot of modern women don't understand. Y'all get with the Chad and the Tyrone, and it's too late. By the time this man didn't run through you, threw you over to Tyrone, he didn't run through you. Threw you over to Jose, he didn't run through you. Threw you over to anybody else, run through you. And by the time you say, man, this ain't all it's cracked up to be. I really liked, this guy, or this guy was, he was good in bed. Actually, a lot of them were good in bed, but, I really didn't have that connection with them. Right. And that man was saying, well, I could have given you both. If you would have, kind of worked with me a little bit, I can give you the connection now, and then we can work on the intimacy. Well, I really wanted a man that knows his way around in bed. Well, you don't have that man because he was messing around. He knew his way around the bedroom with you and 20, 30 more other women. So, I mean, what did you actually accomplish? Whereas you and I, first of all, you ain't that great either. But whereas you and I could have worked together on something, then, and we could have built something, now you over here kind of at a disadvantage because men don't want you and men going elsewhere. Right? So we always like to say, oh, they lame, they this, they that. And what they need to fix, which is, you know, it's true. If you go over there with your eyes closed, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And some of it could end up tragically for you. So you want to be careful, right? But men, you have to understand that men need assistance just like women do. And if the woman is willing to say, okay, I can work with that, cool. And then they live in peace and harmony, I don't see the issue.
As more men start to travel outside of the U.S. and they start to meet the woman in a different country, I really think that it's going to affect drastically the dating scene, even though it's literally already going downhill. I just got back from Colombia, and when I tell you the amount of women just... First of all, it's true, like, there's a lot of beautiful women, bro. And it's more like... I was trying to explain this to my boy and my brothers. It's more like the average woman in Colombia, like a 7 or 8, would be like a 9 or a 10 here. Like the calibers, the scale is just so much more higher. Like you will see a cute girl almost anywhere you go to, a grocery store, any mall. They're just like really adorable, cute. And not just that, but the women are so feminine. Like they're just very in tune with their femininity. And on top of that, they just like, when they speak to you, you can sense like that welcomeness, that love. And because don't get it twisted, there are some girls that are like, you know, hoeing themselves, but that's not all the women. A lot of guys go for that shit, and like, you know, by all means, if that's what you want to do, whatever. But if you actually want to find like a top quality woman who like shows a lot of self-respect and she's gonna show like that feminine side, I promise you, you're gonna find them. And they're like almost anywhere you go, at the mall, at the stores, literally everywhere. And since I've been back, I mean, literally hasn't even been a week, but like I can't even like grasp the idea of me wanting to like date anybody here in the States because of like the fact that like the women out there are just so much more softer, you know, like they're just more, I don't know how to explain it. It's like something you can't, like you have to live it. And coming back here, like I will see somebody attractive, but like I'm not interested anymore. Like I really just don't care. And I know I'm not the only one. Any guy who's been to Colombia, like anybody can tell you themselves, like, bro, once you meet women like from another country and see how soft they are, bro, it's just like, you're like, bro, why am I gonna deal with some bullshit out here with any woman who's being combative, being obnoxious or anything like that? You know, like fuck all that. I'm gonna go ahead and find me a fucking princess that I can spoil and take care of for the rest of my life.
I like the point that he made about them being feminine, them being soft. He said, well, you know, over here, where you would have a 9 or 10, over there, that's kind of like a, you know, a 7. Over there, that's just kind of normal, right? Even above average. That they look that good. I would also probably add that, you know, them being feminine would add to that. Just because that's what men are looking for. Like, oh man, she's pretty and she's feminine and she knows how to, you know, treat a man and act decent and do the right thing. That's a 9 out of 10 every day.
Let me explain something to y'all about this whole passport bro thing. Because a lot of y'all are really upset about this passport bro thing. But I'm going to explain to y'all why it's happening. The reason the passport bro thing is happening is because outside the United States, whether you're looking for love or you're looking for just sex, you go outside the United States, everything is a lot simpler. Everything is a lot cheaper. So a lot of these dudes is like, I could just travel to another country, whether I'm looking for a wife or I'm looking to just have fun, I could go elsewhere and do this with less headache, with less mouth, less problems. So, you know, dudes they got their passports and they out because it's too much work over here. It's too much complications. It's too much interference. It's too much entitlement. So dudes is like, I ain't got to put up with all the shenanigans that I got to do here in the U.S. I ain't even got to spend that amount of money. Matter of fact, I could spend the same amount of money and have a better outcome somewhere else. So that's what they doing. So this is why passport bros is happening. Y'all getting upset, but y'all making it hard.
Now, according to this video, by the year 2030, more than half of the women living in the West, the USA, will be single due to the fact that majority of our men are going overseas to find their brides. I want you guys to take a look at this video and then give me your honest opinion in the comment section. Take a look.
So what do you suggest the women in the West do if everyone's advice is for men in the West to look elsewhere for a wife? What happens to all the women in the West then?
Well, that one study we referenced was said by 2030 or something, 50% of the women will be without a man. So that's the direction we're heading, because the men that are looking for those traditional values are starting to go overseas, and then the other half of the men are just checking out completely. They don't want to deal with women at all. So this is going to be a big issue that women are going to deal with in the future as their options dwindle.
Ladies, how are we feeling about this? Men, do you agree? Let me know. Like, comment, and share. Later.
Well, this might not be a popular answer, but you know, when you're asking me a question, it's always going to be an honest answer, right? They say that men usually go overseas because, you know, when if you've ever listened to like any talk radio shows or anything, listen, men, welcome to chime in here, men. Why don't you answer this question for her? I'm one perspective. I welcome others, but I would say that American men go overseas for women for, I'm going to say a couple reasons. One, that most of the guys are going to say, is that they find that American women, now I'm not saying I agree with this, but they say that American women are a little more hard, a little pickier, harder to please, that type of thing, which, you know, maybe we are. And you know, and the thought is that somebody from another country, especially European women, they kind of are a little sexier, a little more go with the flow. They're not as concerned as, like, you know, with their checklist as we are. They're not maybe as OCD. They don't, you know what I mean? They're not wound as tight, basically. So that's kind of the first thing. I think in a nutshell, they would say that, you know, they go to Europe because they, you know, think women are a little more easygoing over there. All right. Now, the other theory that I have is that there's certain men, and not all, certainly, but I think there are those men who are just controlling, and they want a woman who is going to be, you know, somebody that is more of an object, more of a trophy wife, somebody that they can control, essentially. And she's, you know, English won't be her first language. So, and, you know, I've known like a particularly douchey, still cringe, this attorney guy I worked with years ago. Fuck, such a gross, disgusting person. He's like, well, if I don't find somebody, and I stopped working with him, he was so disgusting. He was like, I've got a plan. I'm going to go to Russia and I'm hiding all my money, and then she'll be over here and she'll be stuck and she'll just have to do what I mean, he was just awful.
Yeah, I think you do have a point in some men wanting to be in control, them wanting to have a pretty good handle on the situation, right? But then also you said something that a lot of men today resonate with, and that's she's not loud. She's not, she doesn't have an attitude. She's peaceful. There's not a lot of chaos going on. And that's the thing that a lot of men are looking for.
So I'm sure many of you have seen that video by Dr. Asif where he's talking about, oh, my brothers in Islam, mashallah, they go to Morocco for their first, second, third, fourth, fifth marriages, whatever it is. And he's so insanely proud of it. Like, he's like, mashallah. These are the same Muslim men that use the word yani in the middle of sentences when they don't speak Arabic generally. Just to sound like they're, you know, in with it and they know what they're talking about. Guys, saying mashallah, inshallah, alhamdulillah, and yani does not make you a religious scholar, firstly. And secondly, it does not make, forget scholar, it doesn't make you an expert in the deen. You know, I'm out here, I'm very honest that I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and, you know, what I understand, I share with you guys. But we have a really serious problem with these men who are making this semi-famous, influencer type lifestyle, and they're going out here and they're telling young men how mashallah it is to go to Morocco or go to wherever to find your wives. Oh, because the women in the UK are just so like this and they're so like that. So instead of men having conversations with one another about improving the state of society because they are the leaders and they are in control, they just go to the next best place where their smallness will be perceived as bigness. That's how insecure these red pill guys are. And you can see it in their eyes. They were very, very hurt by a woman one time. And they were unable to recover from that. And that's what turns them into this. Trust me when I tell you, ladies, men are about 10 times more sensitive than we are. And imagine, we know how sensitive we are. So they just are better at putting a front on because society has also, created a structure for us in a way where men can't, express themselves and whatever it is. So if they've been going like that since they were a child, they have a lot of suppression. When they finally go to a woman that they trust and they felt like, oh, this is going to be it or whatever, and they hurt her, they could not recover from that. They don't have the emotional intelligence and the tools to actually get over that pain that they went through. Women have more of a capability of recovering from heartbreak than men do, because we face our demons. When we have heartbreak, we deep dive. We analyze all the scenarios. We think about what happened. We think about what we did, what they did, how it happened, whatever. But with men, they block everything off. So what happens? It builds up. We turn around and we look at our baggage. Men don't look at their baggage. They just let it build up in the background until they snap. And that's what ends up with this red pill community of men. Oh, women are just, something you just get by. And if she ain't acting right, then you throw her away. It's a defense mechanism. You think you're coming across really masculine and tough, but what you're giving is broken and damaged. What you're giving is lack of emotional control. What you're giving is a lack of masculinity. Because masculine men don't sit around worrying about, oh, I'm going to get screwed over next. They're treating that girl so good that that girl is behaving. And I use that word really carefully. But according to men, that's, the ultimate thing. Like, this woman's behaving right towards me. She will. And if she's not, as a masculine man, when you are sure and certain that you're giving her all the things you should as a masculine man, and she doesn't, reciprocate, or her behavior doesn't align with what you want, you'd simply and politely tell her that we're moving on from each other. You don't go online and go, yeah, just go to another country because the girls there are rubbish. No, what that translates to is we cannot reach the standards and the requirements for the girls in the Western world. They are now getting their own stuff. So me simply bringing her to my mum's house and letting her live rent-free is no longer attractive. She wants a man who's a go-getter? What? She wants a man who works on his mental and emotional and physical health? What? She wants a man who listens to her concerns? Nah. Let's go to Morocco, bruv. Let's go to Morocco. Because at least when she's complaining, she's yammering in Arabic and it's not English and I don't understand it anyway. So there's another excuse I've got not to behave correctly. Because it doesn't matter where you go in what part of the world. If you are not a masculine man, women ain't staying around with you anyway. And even if they are, they're the woman you resent because you know full well that she's only just putting up with you.
Somebody in the comments said, women like you are the reason men are going abroad in search for a wife. And a lot of times that's true. A lot of these women are loose in their religion. They're loose in how they feel. They only adhere to it whenever they want to. They only do what they want to do whenever they want to do it. And then they try to call men out because men say, I'm not putting up with this nonsense. I'll just go somewhere else and find my person. Well, there ain't no women in the U.S. Okay, well, I'll go to Thailand. Well, there ain't no women in Thailand. I'll go to Russia. I'll go to China. I'll go wherever I need to go in order to find a wife. That's it. End of story. Men try a lot of things that women are not willing to try. And when they find what they're looking for, women get mad. Modern women get mad and they wish ill upon their relationship.
Why are so many guys moving to other countries? I've been watching a lot of content of guys moving to Thailand, Southeast Asia, Europe, but mainly Southeast Asia and like Colombia. What's the reason everybody's doing it? Is dating in America really that bad? Here's my girlfriend. She's right here. Hello.
Hello.
She's from Germany. We've been together for like a year and a half, but she moved here 2 years ago. But, you know, I've been out the game for a little bit, but I've been seeing this a lot. Why do you think so many men are moving to other countries? Is dating really that bad? I'd love to hear some females' feedback as well. Let me know what you guys think, man. I appreciate the support on this page. Let's get it.
Guy here in the comments says, I have a lot of friends who do this and spoke to them about it. A lot of different reasons, but the biggest one has nothing to do with women. It's actually cost of living. The women is a plus, probably because they have more disposable income. And that's kind of what I was saying. Why would you go to, and my wife was kind of like this. She was telling me she was like this, whereas her parents would take her to go to school shopping. Her sister would want to be cool, as most people do. So get me the Jordans, get me, whatever's popular, whatever's in style. And you only have maybe 2 or 3 outfits. Whereas she would say, I'll go to Walmart. I'll get this, I'll get that, I'll pair it with this, I'll pair it with that, I'll get these shoes, I'll get that. And she'd have so many more combinations and so many more fashion choices, right? So, oh man, how'd she get that? But you're always wearing that same shirt every day. And pretty soon people are like, oh, that's all she has. Versus somebody that has a whole bunch of options, right? This is kind of the same concept. Instead of staying in a place to where my money isn't really going that far, why don't I go somewhere where I can live comfortably, right? People move for jobs all the time. I'm going over here for a better opportunity. A man is just saying, you know what? This is extreme, but I'm going to do it. And they learn, they adapt to the culture, right? Don't mean that they don't miss some things about America, but they adapt to the culture. And they say, man, you know what? I miss America, but ooh, this apartment that I got over here is hard for me to go back. With my money, man, look, it's hard for me to go back. I find some good spots. I learn the language. Like I said, I learn the culture. I find somewhere to eat that's good and it don't miss. I stay on that. And then I branch out. Okay, I want a burger. So I can buy some meat, cook myself a burger. And that's, whenever I want a burger, and then I do occasionally come back over to the States. If I want, some things over here in the States, I make my rounds, but then I go back home, what's considered home to me now, right? My brother lives in a different state than I do. He'll do that. Whenever he comes down for Thanksgiving or Christmas, they have a list of restaurants that they gonna go to. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go there in succession. And they just pig out. But when they go back, we don't really have that. We don't really have that where I stay at now. So that's what a lot of men do. They adapt their lives. And even men that don't go overseas to find a woman, they're adapting. That's why they walk away, or they look for a certain woman that does a certain thing, says a certain thing, wears a certain thing, has a certain culture. That's the other thing. You have a lot of ladies that come from their country over here and they're doing their thing. Men will go into these communities maybe because they met him at work, or maybe because they met him at school or at a function. It's like, oh man, she's really interesting. I never heard that. So, so do you live around here? Do you do da 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 and all that stuff? And they get to know each other, and he starts to meet her family. It's like, wow, I never even, you guys live in the U.S. Yeah, we live in the U.S. How did you not assimilate to the culture? Well, I mean, we do what we do whenever we need to do it, but this is how we live at home. This is how we are at home. We maintain who we are. We maintain our culture at home. Wow, I like this. It's peaceful. I don't mind learning. I don't mind taking and gleaning and adapting and adding this to my life because it's peaceful. As a matter of fact, do you mind if I marry you? If I marry your daughter in a very respectful manner, right? Modern women a lot of times don't provide that.
Now I'm gonna pay 100%, and if we break up, she get all the rights to the kid. And where I get to win at then? Where I get to win at? Yeah. Nah, homie, listen. Yeah, go talk to me. At this point in life, nigga, if you got a woman sitting back and she's okay with you doing 100%, nigga, that ain't your woman. You're not, homie, because we supposed to work together.
Now.
We supposed to work together. If I'm paying everything, that means you should be saving a bankroll. If I'm paying, then who's saving? If I'm paying everything, because you can't pay everything and save. But if we both pay half, we both can save and put up. Because I'm sure you got some family that you want to help too. You got some things that you like to do. So if I'm paying it all, you don't never pay nothing. You don't never offer to say, okay, this month I get rent, baby, and I've been paying it all, and I came in now. If that's the case, I see why these niggas going overseas then. If that's the mentality.
No.
I understand then. If that's the mentality that the nigga laying down and going to bed with, I see why nigga going overseas.